You know what I think about the oil industry. And I want to play this piece by Sorkin and what he claims is the oil problem, right? And then I want to take it on the other side. So let me go ahead and play that, and then we'll definitely come back and discuss it much more in detail. Check it out.
Let's talk about these oil CEOs.
Do we blame the oil barons?
I've got to say the oil barons, they really make for really likable characters on Capitol Hill. Easy to.
I'm going to give you the mixed, both sides view of the situation. The oil companies effectively stopped investing in new drilling, not because they were trying to save the environment, but because the economics of drilling over the last decade, up until now, were terrible.
Especially during COVID.
Correct.
And so it's all these Republicans saying, oh, if only the Democrats hadn't stopped the drilling. It wasn't the Democrats that stopped the drilling, it was COVID.
So I think there's that. On the other side, I do think there's also a reality that the investor class doesn't necessarily want to be in the fossil fuel business. And so there is this sort of move, a sort of almost free market-ish move. And then there are political policies that are in place or want to be in place that are sort of creating enough uncertainty in that space where people are saying, do I really want to drill more? So I don't know if you want to blame the guys for the price or not. I think the truth is that the reason we have the prices where we are today is we have not probably thought enough about the national security implications of what it means to take oil from Russia.
But again,
and you could argue that we haven't moved fast enough on green energy, which is to say, you know, the transition is going to be painful.
That's it right there.
All of these people running around with their hair on fire, blaming the new Green Deal or whatever they're blaming for market forces. I mean, we're where we are now because of market forces, because the investor class didn't want them to go out with new exploration that cost a lot of money, that would hit the bottom line.
It creates this very unique conundrum, which is you have to drill now, ostensibly to deal with this short-term issue, and at the same time, can you walk and chew gum and invest longer term in the green energy stuff that needs to get done?
I want you guys to understand what you just saw here because it's so important. I love Joe Scarborough. Joe Scarborough turns out to be one of the most honest TV hosts, right? He doesn't give up his republicanism. I mean, he's not a Republican, but he's still a conservative. But he understands, and many times the way he speaks, you get a chance to see that he wants to be an accurate speaker. He's a conservative. He's not like me. I'm a liberal, and I want everybody with their rights, etc. But I want you to point out one thing. What did he say? It's the market forces that are causing the prices to be this high. Not Biden, not anything else, but market forces. Let's put a stop there. So we are saying the mythical market, we feel okay to leave a resource that is existential for us in the country, meaning to get to your doctor, your lawyer, your job, and everything else. This is something that we must have. This is something that we must have at an affordable price so that we can do it and it doesn't break us, it doesn't take away our future, right? And we leave that to market forces, what they call market forces. Ask yourself, when you went to any gas station over the last several months, did you ever have a shortage of gas? Were you ever not able to get gas? When you went to buy your eggs, was there an empty row with no eggs? When you went to buy your toilet paper, when you went to buy most of the products that you wanted, remember, the prices went up. People are complaining because more of their disposable income is going to purchase these things, right? In other words, they didn't stop purchasing these things so that supply is, that because there's a shortage of supply. These guys just chose to increase the price. You are made to believe that there was no other choice, that somehow it costs them more. I'm talking about the big producers, because little producers buy from the same place the average person buy, just with a small discount. So they get ding as well. But these big producers, they price because they can. So when you see that you can always get your eggs, your gas, and all of that just at a higher price, and that you are buying the same amount and everybody else is buying the same amount, they're just saving less. It's a transfer of wealth. It's not real inflation. It's that you don't have pricing power. And it's hard to get that across when you have Sorkin there saying it's Joe Scarborough saying it's market forces, because they're right. This is market forces. And that is the capitalist market. That is how the capitalist market functions. Does it have to be that way for us to have a successful economy? No. But you are made to believe that. Let's give one Venezuela example. When we talk about getting oil from Venezuela, you know, a lot of Republicans would like to say, oh, you're trying to get oil from those socialists, right? But we have no problem getting a whole lot of oil from Saudi Arabia. We don't have a problem getting a lot of oil from the Emirates and all these other places that we get oil from. But in our backyard, where we have the largest reserve of oil on the planet, Venezuela, because Venezuela is not under a capitalist system, we are not going to do anything to help those guys exploit their resources any longer, right? We won't do it. We let them starve until they do it our way. And when they try to do it themselves, we will make sure that they can't. You know, people say like, you know, our system may not be perfect, but name me a perfect system. I say, I can't name you a perfect system. You know why? Because we won't allow that perfect system to emerge. You know, it's like, it is like you put the boot on somebody's neck and then say, why can't you get up? Come on, get up. The boot is on their neck. And you're telling them, get up, get up, get up. But they can't get up because your boot's on the neck. That's the difference between, that's why we have economic systems that can never flourish, because we, as the dominant economic system, anytime one tries to come up, let me tell you something that they'll not tell you. They'll never tell you this about Venezuela. When Chavez started, it was benevolent, right? When Chavez started out, I don't know about Maduro. Maduro is a crackpot. But Chavez, you know, Chavez was creating this Bolivarian United States of South America, right? That was a panic. You don't hear that news over here. You don't hear that over here. I mean, Argentina, Brazil, all these people were borrowing money when petrodollars were huge. He has the largest base. But you know what? Oil crashed and he crashed. They made sure that his economy couldn't survive. But the time when his economy was doing well, the people that were living in poverty, even under Carlos Andrés Pérez and all these other capitalists, and that Carlos Andrés Pérez wasn't like the biggest capitalist in the world, right? But he was, you know, he still played ball with the shell companies, or the oil companies. But, you know, when Chavez came in, all those people, the poverty was gone. They don't tell you that. But those, the Rabiblancos in Venezuela and these other folks that run the empresas, las empresas venezolanas, they couldn't have that. They couldn't have that the resources of the country would be evenly distributed to the people. They didn't want that. They wanted the system that we have here. Americans don't see that that they're just as extractive with us. Americans generally don't see it either, right? I want you to think about this. There's oil in a lot of public lands, and you hear Bush, you hear Biden and all of them talk about drilling on private lands and all that kind of stuff, right? And you ask yourself, why are the oil companies and their shareholders and the bonuses the executives get, Why are they the ones making all the spoils from all that oil that they pick up from these public lands with a very minor tax? Why aren't they picking up all that oil, charging how much they invest in getting that oil, having some predetermined profit of which we the people are a part of as well, maybe pay for schools and all of that with the profits from all the mining resources on public land? We don't do that. You know who does it? One Republican state does it. Alaska. Alaska give every one of their people a check for all for the oil that goes through that Alaskan pipeline. And I imagine that was like a bribe for them to build the pipeline. That's my guts. I don't know. I'm just saying that. But let's remember that Americans are exploited whenever we have the tons of resources on public lands. Corporations mine them, and then they, with their shareholders and their bonus, they keep it all. And we, the people who are just as American as anybody else, the natives who live on whose land that was many a times, are in abject poverty, and the resources goes to a few. How humane, how moral, how honest. You want to know why we can't allow Venezuela to have done what they wanted to do with that oil? Because when Americans saw that another country that has tons of natural resources, just like America has, America might not have that amount of oil, but we have a lot of other resources as well. A lot of other resources. But if we ever decided to say, wait a minute, with the millions and millions of acres of public land, how comes that money isn't going into the American coffers? Why not? You want to know why they want to privatize a lot of land? Because they know that eventually people are going to get smart and say, whoa, that land is private. Anything that mined on that land belongs to us all. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.